Hello friends, so today I'm going to tell you where to start. So don't start here or with the real book here, or you probably walk through your local music store or on Amazon and you're like, well, I'll buy a jazz book and another jazz book and another jazz book and another jazz book. And someday after going through all these, I will be able to play jazz. So let me tell you my background. That did not work for me. So I have a master's degree in piano performance and, playing Chopin etudes, Liszt concertos, that kind of stuff. You'll just never feel ready. You'll feel vulnerable. You won't know what notes to play. So I'm going to go through a quick lesson here where to start. I think the best place to start is just with the 12-bar blues. It can be as simple or as complex as you want, but it can start really simple. I've gotten 7-year-olds to be able to play just basic stuff. And you can take this to a jam session. You can just get started right away. So I'm of the opinion, kind of like Benny Lewis learning how to speak a language. Speak from day one. You'll never feel ready. So with that, let's get started. Let's learn a basic 12-bar blues. There's a lot of skills that you can get from here that you can apply to anything you want to do playing jazz piano. All right, so the first thing is about the form. So 12-bar blues. I'll put it up above me on the video. So the thing you're going to have to get used to is being able to improvise over a form. So the blues start by just playing all dominant chords. So major triad, minor seventh. So it's going to go C, dominant for one measure, to F, dominant for one measure, back to C, dominant, F for two measures, back to C, and then you usually have we'll do a 2, then 5, 1. And that's it. It's 12 bars. So the first thing you want to be able to do, take your metronome. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now to F. And then it's going to repeat. So the thing to get the feel of is the harmonic motion. So the rate at which chords change throughout the form. So I would start there as like a preliminary step. Yeah, it sounds pretty square. It doesn't sound so good. We're going to switch to doing, instead of all notes here, it's pretty square. We're just going to play the shell. So what the shell is just the third and seventh of the chord. So root, third, seventh. Then when we go to the 4 chord, we can, instead of skipping up here, we're going to go here. So we get nice motion. Or we can do it down here. Okay, so we're going to play the root in the bass, third and seventh in the right hand. So let's try that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. For two measures, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so that's the first step, just playing quarter notes. So now you can start to Make it a little, even just with those notes, you can start to make it more interesting with the rhythm. So a key part of jazz is the rhythm. Sometimes you'll hear like Red Garland or even Oscar Peterson. Like they can play this crazy stuff, but I think the stuff that's most tasteful is when they place it really well on the beat. They can just play something really simple. Like not very hard. They just place it so well with the bass and the drums. So that's something coming from a classical background that you're just not used to. You just want to like rip through all those notes. Learning really how to place things on the rhythm is so important. All right, so let's vary up that accompaniment a little bit. 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2. Start over 1. Yeah, and you'd start over. So that's like level 1. Like you could probably get away with that at some kind of jam session, right? You could play behind a saxophone player or something. Yeah, so the next step from there, if you're just doing solo piano, you could add a little bit of motion in the bass. You could do a walking bass line. I'll show you something really simple that you can do. So if you know you're going to the 4 chord and you got 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Boom, you're on the 4 now. And then to get back to C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? And then when you get to the 2, you can just walk. And there you go. So let's put those in action here. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to be on F for 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Four, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, so you can just add little things, and that's already starting to sound much better. Okay, the next level you can do is you can start adding more notes to this shell. So instead of root and third, we can add like a third above it. So the voicing is going to look like this. The 9th. Okay, so this core thing that we were doing before, the 3rd and 7th, doesn't change. We can add notes now on top. Then when we get to the 2 chord, and then keep it. Okay, so let's try it with that. 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. And it starts over. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so once you've gone through that, make sure that is super solid. Because the next step is to remove this bass line. And now you're going to start to play something that sounds, well, like if you were in a combo and you had a bass player and drums, you wouldn't be playing this left hand. What you were doing in the right hand, you're going to do in the left hand. So it sounds strange right at the beginning, right? If you're not used to this kind of sound. But you do hear this a lot in jazz. So let's just go through what we did with the right hand and the left hand. Let's just put that right hand in the left hand. Let's just do that by itself. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. Now we're on the 4. Back to 1. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Starts over. So now what we're going to do is we're going to worry about the right hand. So when I usually teach this, I will play the accompaniment that I just taught you. And I'm going to give you some very basic tools to improvise with. So yeah, you have lots of choices. So the idea is when you're practicing or learning, you have a very small idea or a collection of notes that you're going to try to improvise with. Like, you don't need to do everything. So the idea I'm going to give you is the blues scale. And there's 2 types. We're going to go through one, and then I'll give you the other in a minute. So the basic, like, textbook blues that you'll see is something like this. And really, if you break it down, it's really a pentatonic scale with an extra note in it. So the pentatonic scale, or a 5-note scale, is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it repeats with this extra sharp 4 in it. Okay? Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this in the background, and you're just going to improvise. I'll show you how. I'm going to improvise with this blues scale over the form. So the nice thing about the blues scale is there's no wrong notes, right? You can play all of those notes over all the chords on the blues. So it's kind of like a no-fail way for note choice, at least. So all you're really left with is rhythm and maybe direction. You're going to go up the scale, or you're going to skip some notes, right? But just stick to those notes. So let's try that here. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that's the idea. So there's just the blues scale. There's also this other scale that is really useful. So it's this other pentatonic scale here, this major version. Okay, and you can add the flat 3 here. So with those 2 things, you're going to be able to construct some kind of solo where you can improvise over the blues. So let's just constrict ourselves to these notes here and go through it, building a solo that way. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the idea there. The next step is to combine the 2 ideas. So you can combine you see what I did there? I went up in blues scale, and then I'm gonna flip to this major scale. So I have this collection of notes and this collection of notes. So I can flip between the two. Yeah? So you can build a solo doing that. So between those two, you can build some really interesting lines. So let's try that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the kind of the idea there. Okay, if you're comfortable with that, you're gonna have to start learning how to kind of multitask. So we're gonna play what you were doing in the left hand and improvise in the right hand. You have to have this really down in the left hand, really solid, so you don't kind of lose track. So let's try that now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it starts over. I might have cheated a little, but pretty much I stuck to this major version of this pentatonic scale, this major blues scale, and this minor pentatonic scale. Another fun texture is you can space out, so you can play like you can play this blues scale with like these open fifth, fourth things. So listen to this. Yeah, it's kind of like Red Garland kind of stuff. So let's go through a whole chorus of that. We're gonna play these open blues voicings over your left hand shell. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the idea. So, I mean, that doesn't even sound too bad as a solo. Like, you could probably go to a jam session right there from day one. So, there you have it. I've given you maybe 4 or 5 different things to practice, and you can expand from there, and then listen to recordings. So, recordings I would recommend listen to Red Garland's C Jam Blues, and then Wynton Kelly. He has some blues, like All Blues or something with Miles Davis. I'll post it. Really simple lines. It's not too crazy. I know when I started, people suggested, oh, listen to Oscar Peterson or Art Tatum or something. Like, it's just it's way too overwhelming at the beginning. Like, even if you have the kind of the technical facility, like, there's just way too much information. This language, this new language you're trying to learn and speak, it's just too much at the beginning. Start at the beginning. I don't care if you're playing, Liszt concertos or something. Start at the beginning, really go back to the basics, learn how to speak from day one.